Hey, hope everybody is doing okay tonight. Sorry, it's been a last minute, lot of stuff going on today. Spent a world of time on the phone. Sorry about that. Spent a world of time on the phone today dealing with some stuff. Just a busy, busy week. Next week, our schedule may be all over the place. My son's got quite a few things we have to deal with, including some late night medical appointments for some MRIs and stuff. So I don't know what the schedule is going to be next week on live show. Just FYI, it's all going to come down to whatever happens with the appointments. So anyway, we'll hop on to something else. Let's see, for Patreons, I'm just going to touch on this so I don't forget. I'll holler it out later on too, because I see quite a few Patreons in the feed right now. I have spent the time. Ian, I think Ian or Evan, one of the two, went ahead and added tags to every single video in Patreon. So if you want to see a postcard record or whatever the case may be, you can go to the post page and type in whatever term I usually use in my titles, and it's now tagged. So every video that has postcards or whatever, isn't it? All 120 some odd. The video, part 2 of the one video, is sitting here right this second on YouTube. I just didn't have enough time to post it onto Patreon. So the minute the show's over, before I leave my desk, I'm going to go ahead and copy it. Now the next video, the one that's going up literally 10 minutes after the show, it's a long one. It's, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes or better, and it goes into some bolo, and then you got a real nice breakdown on part of a haul of some paper items that I've talked about. So that's that one. Next video coming out is going to have a couple how-to things in it on how to fix and save, and I think I got the repair one stuck in that one too. So some leather goods and stuff too. So enough of that. Tomorrow's video, I do have a video for the packaging of that. And before I forget, I'm going to draw some names. We've got the prize from last week. Do apologize to our first draw, and I have to step off screen because I honestly left the pieces of paper to pick from in off screen. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I got the winner to pick today. Literally almost forgot about that. So we're going to pick the winner. Same ones I had in the box. I literally set the box aside after the show, and we're going to pick a winner from that. So somebody's getting the Killer Clown. I don't even think I brought an image to show, holler out. I think those of you who entered know what it is. I'll post an image of it to Instagram as well. I'm going to wait just a few minutes till 7:30 on the dot, and we're going to do it. And if you're on the feed at 7:30 and your name is drawn, you get the item. So we'll just make it simple. 7:30, that gives people another 25 minutes to get on. It was supposed to have been last week. So anyway, if I don't get somebody who's not on during that time, I'm going to drop down to the bottom of the feed. I'm just going to pick one until we get somebody who's on the feed at 7:30 to give it away. So make it easy, simple, and we'll go from there. So again, I just want to get rid of that, not get rid of it, I should say, but be done with it, because I know I had some questions. I meant to post a comment on it as well in feeds and Instagram, and literally my time has been awful dealing with some issues with insurance and a bunch of other issues too. So anyway, hopefully after this coming up week, after the week of the 14th, things will be better and we can move on from there. So anyway, I got some haul items I was going to shout out to. I got some posters, and I've picked up almost the same kind of stuff on probably 2 or 3 dozen trips. One of the guys I get stuff from deals with, well, I don't want to give out who he deals with, but he deals with sources that end up with stacks of concert posters, CD posters, record posters, promotional material of all different types and stuff. And I got a whole bunch more from him. I've got, the stack of posters are probably like that. So maybe there's 300-400 of them, maybe something in that range. I picked a few of the ones. I didn't look through them all. I just looked through some of them and tried to pick some more popular ones, kind of give you an idea. I sell those. Most all of these are just going to go up on Amazon. There's a couple on Amazon that I ended up with like 92 of on one of them, and I want to say it was like 47 or 48 on the other one. And I sold every single one of those for top dollar, twice what I could get on eBay. So chances are, though, I'll go up to in fact, why don't we just do that now and we'll hit back on from that. Hopefully everybody can hear everything okay. I guess I should have double checked on that. And I have to watch for Don to list one so I can get it. Yeah, I've listed one and it was sold pretty quickly from somebody who saw it on YouTube. And again, I didn't even announce that I was listing it. It just happened to be that apparently they've been looking for it. But I do sell them at least once a month. I used to sell a bunch more of the little resins that I do, but I just don't have the time, honestly, to do them. And I was going to have other people paint them and do this and do that, but it wouldn't be legit in my book if I had like a assistant like paint it and stuff. Just me. I did murals for somebody, and I'm not going to mention her name or anything, but I did murals for somebody, and I did all the characters. If you ever are in Florida, iDrive McDonald's used to be the world's biggest. I don't know if maybe it still is. They have a second floor. They sell pizza at this McDonald's. I did all the McDonaldland characters in the iDrive McDonald's. That's at the end of Kirkman Road, if you know where that's at. So you go outside of, let's see, Universal, you make a left onto Kirkman, and you go down to iDrive. And that McDonald's down there, I did all the characters, every one of those at one point. Now, I signed my name on the characters, and the person that I was working for, painted out my signature and put her signature on it after I left the project. That was just a little bit much for me. That was the last time I worked for her, just FYI. But anyway, I don't see any complaints about no noise, so I'm assuming that everybody can hear me. Let me see here. Let me pop up here. Let's show the posters. We'll go back to some questions. 7:30 on the dot. I got my timer set. That's 22 minutes. We're going to do the giveaway. I'll keep checking. Motorhead, we'll start off with the posters. I'll just discuss these just for a minute here. Now, I don't care, on anything like this. I'll just buy them in big bulk stacks of this stack, hundreds of posters. I got $50 into it. And I don't know, probably 90% of the people in these, I don't have a clue who they are. I just saw enough in some that I've sold before, so I know what does fairly well. These are like from record shops and things along that line. These are better ones. There's quite a few of the same ones. Motorhead's pretty popular, even still to this day. If you've got satellite radio XM, they play Motorhead on the 80s. What is it called? What's the channel name? Shoot. I can't think of the name of the channel. We listen to Lithium on there, which is the 90s, and then there's an 80s channel. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. But Motorhead posters, there's more than just this. I just grabbed the first little stack. I've probably got a couple hundred different posters. There's some that are signed even, which I was really surprised. Now, this one, I'm not up on the newer musicians very much. Some of them I am, but this isn't one. I do know Kendrick Lamar, which was kind of interesting to see his name on there. Absol, I know, and that's really about it. Be Real, just some interesting posters, and they go all across all genres. There's even rockabilly. There's just you name it. There's all kinds of things in here. Paramore. Now I've heard the name. I don't know what they sing at all, or what they do. Somebody will probably say, I can't believe you don't know that, but I'm more into the older music, I guess. Portishead, I know. In fact, it's got an interesting effect. Again, there's multiples. If anybody wants one of these, you can always hit me up if there's something you need. I'll give them to you at a real good price. I'll list them on eBay or someplace, but now, this one here, I have no idea who they really are, but I do know that in, American Dad, he has this asphyxiation with My Morning Jacket, and this is the group. I didn't know it was even a real group until I saw this. Again, I don't keep up on a lot of the newer stuff, good, bad, or indifferent. I figure some of these are going to do fairly well. Stuff like this on Amazon, I put anywhere from $34.50 to $57.50 straight on out. That's what I throw up on all of them. Something like a Billy Joel, that's probably $57.50. The Stranger, Legacy 2 CD set. Some of these go way back. There's some Beatles in here. This one I thought was neat. I have to actually track down the record. I don't know if you know who that is, but I'll give you just a second here if somebody knows who that is. We'll see if anybody can pop this gentleman's name in there, but I'll shout it out now real quick. That's Frank Zappa, if you don't know who that is. But Zappa's got some pretty out there stuff. So anyway, now here's one that I have a CD by them too. Let's see if this shows off. Yeah, this is an interesting one. Blur. They do song number 2. If you don't know what that is, that's like a classic '90s song number 2. They've got like 5 songs I think that I own by them, as well as a CD. But there's 5 songs I have MP3s that I listen to. Blur's not too bad. British group. I haven't seen that one before. The poster. There's another one that I know. Jane's Addiction. Should know that one. So been caught stealing. Saw them back in the day. I can't remember his actual name, but he's one of the ones I think that founded the what's that music festival that they do? Lollapalooza. I think he's one of the ones that was involved in Lollapalooza, if I'm not mistaken. Now my wife likes a couple songs by Dido, whatever her name is. I've got like 5 or 6 different ones from her. Now these are record shop ones where you'd put the covers and stuff in there for advertising, it looks like. Now some of these are just concert posters too. Kings of Leon. Now I don't know. I think I've heard a song of theirs or 2 maybe. I'll just flip through a few more. Interesting effect as you see it kind of disappears on us. Let's see what time it is, so we can do it. We got 17 minutes. Now, Disturbed, I know a few songs by them, so I was kind of surprised that was in here. Indestructible, there's a couple of them. They're fairly popular. Here's another one that I know. Afghan Wigs is a 90s group, and I've got a bunch of different ones from the Afghan Wigs. Some of these date back to the 90s, too. Now, I would say this is a newer one by them, and I have a couple of them. Interesting, it's like a etch style. So again, I've got, there's a huge stack of posters. Maybe I'm even wrong on the size, but there's hundreds of them. This one's pretty cool. Unfortunately, it's green screened out, but it's Beatles Sgt. Pepper. It's from the 20th anniversary, so this is an original one. I was kind of surprised. And I got a whole bunch of Eminem in there as well, too. There's a few that I might keep out, but Without Me, I like Without Me, so, anyway. And here's another Beatles tie-in now. I don't know if anybody's going to recognize Claypool Lennon, but Sean Lennon's in this, one of John Lennon's sons. So, and that's him right there, actually. And he's more, he's younger for one. He's got a different mother than Julian, if you didn't know that. I like Julian Lennon too. Much Too Late for Goodbyes isn't a bad song. So, anyway. I just got a couple more in here. Now, I don't even know who this is, but he signed it. Cyrano, I have no idea. And I tried to look up to see if I could find a clip. I just ran out of time doing that. It's signed. It's dedicated. There's probably about 40 musicians from, say, 98 through 2010 that have signed some of these. There's some name brand ones. I pulled some of them out just to see if it's real signatures. And anyway, and then I'll just show you one more here. Now, I don't know. That looks to me like it's supposed to be Grateful Dead, but I'm guessing it's probably not. I got a whole stack of these. If it's Grateful Dead, these are probably worth 50 or so a piece. If it's not, I don't know. But I know some of the Grateful Dead record store day posters, I've seen them go for a couple $100 in the past. So you never know. I'll have to look a whole bunch of this up. Probably I'll list a couple, get all my money back, and then the rest might sit here until I have somebody spend some time double checking and then photoing them. And there's some that are huge. I've got some that are like 8-foot posters. These just monster ones. That's not counting in the stack that I got. There's a box I got with them too with these huge posters. They take up a lot of space, so there's probably 20 in there, but it just looks like a lot just because there's, they're big, huge multi-fold posters here. Let's see who's on tonight. Hustle and Grind, Calgary, how are we doing? Cornelius, welcome. Let's go with the Johnsons. Good evening. Hey, there's Aaron. Aaron's got his little handshake coming out there. How are you doing this evening, Aaron? I got Carl. How is Carl doing? Charles Lowe, Rome, India. I have been through there once or twice. Aaron Baker, how are you doing? We've got Disney Family 515 in the house as well. Any chance we can get a look at your Shopify store? I am going to have Shopify videos coming out real quick, and there's going to be a bunch of them. We're going to go over the entire Shopify. Now, some of the internal workings will just be in Patreon, some of the insider stuff on it, but we'll give you all the basics out on YouTube here for Shopify. We're going full force into this. On top of all the other stuff going on, I got Shopify going on too. So I ditched the whole third-party app stuff, and I'm not going to go with that route, and we're doing it all Shopify. So I'm paying hundreds of dollars to have our eBay listings imported too. I had to get a special price and email them, and it took a little while to get everything situated. Because most people don't transfer that amount of stuff into it. And two, with Shopify, if you've got a bunch of different stores, you can import all of that into one Shopify store and then broadcast it out however you want. So if you want to combine two eBay stores, you can do that also from Shopify. Just FYI. Now, you can do that from the third-party apps as well, but I don't know why you'd want to do that. I only say that just because if you've got several stores you'll save, it's like $2,500 a year, depending on how many listings you have, you save every time you open up a new store instead of spending the extra money on each individual. It's 5 cents a listing after the first 10,000. The Anchor store, the first 10,000 listings are like 2.5 cents at the very most. And then after 10,000 listings, it's 5 cents. So that adds up when you've got tens of thousands of listings times 12 months. So at the end of the year, you save. So if you wanted to open up multiple stores from one store, it would be a piece of cake from the way it looks by doing it on Shopify as well. At least from what I've seen. I haven't got into all the basics on that stuff yet, but we've been importing and all that kind of stuff too, and then messing with it, checking the channels and all that kind of stuff, because we're going to be on multiple channels with the same items. So anyway, let's see. Friday 888, how are you doing? Eddie Brahahona, how are you doing as well? I don't share my store. Yep, that's a good thing too. I don't share everything, as you know. I do share some, but I don't share everything else. It's just not safe to some extent. Mr. Exquisite, how are you doing this evening? And yes, I see you there, Carl. How are you doing? I hope everything works out with your son. Our best wishes. Thank you, Dynamic Comics. The 14th, after the 14th, that's the big day when we'll be there real late. He doesn't even get there till 10 at night, and that's for check-in. And then it's all being done at the hospital too, just for safetyness, I guess. So anyway, I feel more comfortable it being done there, so we'll worry about that when it comes. Continue to send positive thoughts. Well, thank you, Carl. Thank you, Mike. There's Mike's been on for a long time too. Again, for those on Patreon, Patreon video is literally sitting there. My upload tab says it is completely done. Let's see here. Okay, it just failed. So we are going to have to upload it again. It'll still be up tonight, I promise you. Let's see here. Where are we? Was Hollister a brand you really grew up with? No, not at all. Never had a Hollister until I was an adult. I don't even know if Hollister was around when I was a kid. My son likes it, and we go to the mall, and I like the shirts are fine, and I don't mind. Just less shopping I have to do. I'm not a big person on name brands. I know it may look like it, but it's just a shirt. It's a t-shirt. It's comfortable. I like the color. It's just a new shirt. You know, there's the shirts that I like, I never can find anything that I really like. We go all over the place. I look online, and this one's fine. It suits the purposes of shirt, I guess. John Valentine, how are you doing? Good to have you on live show. Thank you very kindly as well, John. Mark Donahue, hello to you as well. Welcome to the show. America X7, welcome as well. Let's pop on down here. Let's see what we got on time. 10 more minutes, and we are going to give that away. Robert Mikataveja. Mikatavage. I'm sure I pronounced it terribly, but welcome to the show. I got another one that I did finish for someone else who hasn't picked it up. I may have one extra here, Carl, that I may put up if you're interested in buying one if you don't win it. Let's see here. Hang on, my feed's frozen. Totally frozen. I can't see anybody's comments. Okay, here we go. Just a second. Let's see if I lost anything. Okay, just a second here. Sorry, folks. Yeah, there'll be, as I said, Carl, Patreon video. It's like 45 minutes this time. Let's see here. We got just over 100 people, 24 likes. So if you like the conversation, please hit that like button. After the giveaway, we're going to talk about 2020 flipping and reselling. We're going to try and stick on topic. I know I'm bad on that sometimes, but we're going to try and stick to that topic today. Duncan sold some good postcards from China, early 1900s stamped. Stamps are I got a massive assortment of stamps. That haul, the last haul video I did, Duncan, in that, well, I'm not going to show the stamps. Those will probably be on Patreon, but I got a ton. I might show a few of the covers or something, but I got a ton of stamps, postcards. There are some China ones in there. Some I can't sell on eBay, unfortunately. They're a little graphic. Corporal punishment and things like that. But I got a whole bunch of stuff. There was only, I think, 2 Chinese covers, and they both had dragon stamps on it, which I was crossing my fingers when I pulled it out that that's what they would have, and they did. Postcard-wise, I got like 14 China postcards recently that I have not listed yet. They're decent ones, 50 to say 150 a piece would be my guess on those. Nothing, they're all Hong Kong. In the known area, not the destroyed section. There's some China postcards that are incredibly sought after because a section in the center of Hong Kong was totally destroyed, leveled to redo it. And that old section of town are where most of the value goes in Hong Kong. So if you know which section's which by looking at an image, you can really rake out on those anyway. Let's see where we're at. Thankoidy, Stream Cody, how are you doing? Let me see if this is working. I enrolled in the global shipping program 7 months ago. Just realized tonight, thanks to a message from Singapore, that I had every country blocked. Yeah, that won't help you at all. With global shipping now, I have it set up very specifically, and maybe I'll do a video on that even. I've been tossing back and forth. It's on my list of potential video things, but I have it very specific, and I went into continental-wise and blocked out many countries on some of it. We ship directly to like 7 countries, and then the rest go to global shipping, and even in the global shipping, we've blocked some. We also have different return policies depending on where it's ordered from. So you can set it up for U.S. with one type of return policy, and then global shipping or anything out of the country on a totally different shipping policy. So if somebody wants to return something and they're out of the country, you can set it up so they have to pay to return it. Of course, they can open up a case. We all know that, but it's a little harder. It's a little more involved, and they have to hit to the second page just to open up a case nowadays. If you didn't know that, they did change that around. Yeah, I like the global shipping program for that aspect of it. And another aspect on it is that if it makes it to eBay's facility, and ours is in Kentucky, I think there's only 1 or 2. Once it hits there and it's checked in and scanned there, if it gets lost or broken in shipment from that point on, eBay covers the total loss, shipping and everything on it. I don't know if you knew that. A lot of people weren't aware of that, which I was kind of surprised. Ozzy's Boneyard plays Lemmy all the time. Yeah, I think we listen to Ozzy. I think it's Ozzy, and then I can't remember what the next one is right on top of it on XM Radio. But Ozzy's channel, and then it's 80s heavy metal. Darn it, for the life of me, can't think of the name of the channel. Lithium's the only other one I listen to on there, other than the Christmas stuff. But 90s and 80s are what I listen to. Hair Nation, that's it. Mr. Exquisite, that's it. Hair Nation. Thank you. That's exactly what I was thinking about. Nice haul on the posters. Well, thank you. My morning jacket is great. As I said, I only know from American Dad there's an episode, and I think they play part of it in there. I got a whole bunch of it. It's like an emo group. Yeah, I didn't know that. Somebody shouted, Dr. Full Zappa. Yeah, I'm sure Carl or somebody like that I figured would have recognized Zappa. In fact, I didn't even realize that's who it was when I first saw it. And I'm like, wait a minute, because it didn't say Zappa or anything on it. And usually, Mothers of Invention, or at least it says something on the cover so you know who it is specifically. I've made a lot of money on Frank Zappa and Mothers of Invention records and stuff. Zappa stuff always sells. My Morning Jacket is a Southern Rock. Seen them open for Pearl Jam. Oh, that's surprising. Perry Farrell. Don't know who that is either. There's somebody else, Perry Farrell. Oh, Jane's Addiction. Jane says, yeah, that's another one. KOL. Not sure which one that one. Disturbed, I know, as I said. Yeah, that's just a small. I mean, I pulled out just like a small. If you saw how many were there, it weighs like, I don't know, maybe 40 pounds. It's a lot of weight. And they're thick stock paper, and they're all gloss, and it's a lot of stuff there. Les Claypool is a bass god. Yes, he is. My Name is Mud. Yep, there you go. I don't think that's dead. What's the deal with people not playing on accepted offers and auctions? Seems to be happening for a lot of sellers. For me, it's been items with many watchers. This is from Greg Murray. You know, I haven't had an unpaid item. Geez, I don't know when the last time I had an unpaid item. I know I opened up a case maybe once last month in the beginning, maybe the first week, and it was an item. I don't open up a case until it's been at least 7 days of non-payment. And sometimes it'll even be up to 10 days. I don't really worry because 99.99999% of the time they just pay for it at some point within that time. You open up a case, after just a couple days, and I personally would never do that, nor would I ever recommend it. I don't set it automatically. I just open them up. I'll look at them every week at the end of the week and just see where it's at. Sometimes I'll recognize a name and I know they're a late payer or something, and I don't worry. Or it's somebody who's ordered from me before, and I always tell them not to worry about it. So, I honestly don't open up cases until it's been a while, and some 10 days, as I said. So just me, I don't get unpaid item cases for the most part. I can tell you the categories that I have the biggest unpaid item cases, and I've only had like one in months, are usually toys, vintage toys, or comics. And I think it's because they're younger folks for the most part on some of them buying it. Again, depending on the line of the comic book or something. So Suicide Squad, stuff like that's usually younger kids from what I see. I say kids, well, not necessarily kids, not meaning anything by that, but I call my adult son a kid still, so, that's just the way it is. Jack the Ripper, how are you doing? Barbara Barbler, how are you doing as well? Dylan Langford, welcome. If you want, I've got an email address, auctionprofessor@att.net. You can send me a line on that for that one. That might be the only Jane's Addictions of that specific one. I think I got a couple other Jane's Addiction in there as well. Let's see here. Texas Kitty, this is Doris. How are you doing, Doris? Right, Rob. Peace as well. Live long and prosper there. The Spock hand sign. So ZQ929YT, welcome from Dallas. I've been to Dallas. I actually worked there for just a little while, on and off, filling in for somebody. Carl, that one poster. Yeah, that great. I wasn't insinuating it's a poster specifically. I know it's a record store poster. But I don't know. Usually they put them for a specific group, and they put a image on them. I've had many record store or record day posters. That one just reminds me of a Grateful Dead artwork. I'll have to do a search on that and look it up. I didn't have a chance. I've got probably 6 different record store day posters in that lot, and there's probably just as many. There's 10 or 15 of each one, I would gather. Yeah, just the character-wise, Carl, on that one, I was assuming that just great. Usually when you see the skull, the skeletons, they're Grateful Dead posters. It just reminds me of the work. Friday 88's from Detroit. Well, welcome as well. Carlene, how are you doing? Carlene Harper. Hang on, let me slide down. Dr. Phil, I was a Back in Black record store day from... Yeah, I got what it was, but the point is that again, it's they usually use a image from a record album. Usually, what I see on them. Let's see here. Duncan, if you sell one cross-listed, let me see the time. I don't want to go past at 7:30. It's probably up 7:31. I'm a minute late here. We're going to draw something right now. We're going to see. Again, everybody has to be on, and we're just going to... Again, it's the same names in here. I'm just picking one. I can't see what it is. Here is one right here. Will this show up on the screen is the question. Yes, it looks like it will, maybe. And this is just a postie. I wrote down all the names. Doris Kubelka Plagins. Well, I guess you can't see that, but Doris Kubelka Plagins. Hopefully that person is on. Hopefully Doris is on. Did we not just see a Doris? Or no, am I not correct here? Let me pop down to the bottom here, and I'll try and come back up. Let me see here. Did I not just see a Doris on here? This is Doris. Hello from Austin. Is that the same Doris? Hang on, my feed's totally stopped. Not working at all. Let's see here. Anybody? Doris? We'll call it again. Doris. Plagins is the last name. Plagens. Doris Kubeleka Plagins. Not on tonight. We're going to go to another name if we cannot get an answer in just a second here. That's you. That is you. All you got to do, Doris, then, you are the winner of the Killer Clown from Outer Space. I have my email address, and I usually don't type that out, but we are going to put it in here. This is how you can contact me. Yes, everybody can see this. This is an open one. This is the same email address that's on my About page here on my YouTube channel here. So this is the email address. Just email me your physical address to send it to, and it will go out Saturday at the very latest. Tomorrow I have an appointment, so I can't guarantee it. I am not here. It is packed up, so I'll make sure it goes out tomorrow. How about that? We'll just make sure it goes out tomorrow either way. So just send me that to that email address and your personal physical address, and I will send it out to you. That's all I need for you. And it will be on the way. So congratulations. TX Kitty is the winner. We will put that in there. Winner of the Killer Clowns is... And there she be. Well, thanks everyone for entering. I'm going to have some more. I might put like boxes of merchandise maybe one day, like just some paper, random items of paper, like $100 worth or something, just as a give me away thing. Again, thank you very kindly, Texas Kitty Doris, for entering, and thanks everybody else for entering as well. We got quite a few. Again, if you didn't win, I am sorry. We will do another contest. I've got some miniature versions of the Trilobite. We've shrunk that down now with something, and I'm going to show how to shrink stuff on the other channel. I've got like 3 videos ready to go for the other channel. I just haven't had much time or patience with all the other stuff going around. So one day you'll just see a bunch of videos probably up on the Art Professor too. So anyway, let's pop back up to some questions. I'm glad we got it. I'm glad we got a winner today, Doris. Thank you for joining, as I said. Let's pop back up here and see if I can find where we were at. Let's see here. Okay, let's go back to Duncan, and I'll answer Duncan's question. On Shopify, if you sync your pages, sync the channels that you list on, it will sync in almost near real time. From what I heard, there's like a few minute lag time, and that's about it when it goes from server and updates and things like that. So, and eBay has an update lag for the most part on some things too. Like if you post an item, it may not show up, and even they state it could take 24 hours. Now, I've never had it take that long. Or like a sale goes on live, and it may not start right away, it may not end right away. You know, there might be some lag with the last few items getting on sale and things like that. I've seen all kinds of things like that. Oh, I do have there are more glitches right now, and I may just touch on it in another video, but I've got an item that somebody sent me an offer, and I didn't accept it. I just let it sit there, and I figured it would expire. Never expired. It's just sitting there, and it keeps saying it's available, and obviously it's not. It says expired. I keep forgetting to say something to eBay. I just didn't feel like wasting my time and calling. I figured once it hits the end of the 30 days auto relist, it should cut that off. But I've had 3 or 4 other people tell me that exact same issue happened with them. So obviously they're having some sort of issues. Maybe, it only shows up, I don't know. It's hard to say, but it's definitely there. And it's been there for like 3 weeks now. And I know I'm terrible on, I wrote it down even, and I still forgot to say something. I was frustrated from my last conversation with eBay over, and in fact, you've got the video. I posted the video on that conversation, and I forgot to ask that anyway, so. Hey, Jim and Julie, how are you doing? How are you two doing? One of these days, I'm going to get out. I know I keep saying that. I haven't been to another show, sale, or anything. Maybe I've even missed the last one out at the place I always run into you at, the antique flea market out there. I haven't been anywhere, honestly, other than my usual people straight shots. One of my pickers that sets up out there, you two, Jim and Julie, he's not doing very well, and he's had some medical issues, so I haven't even thought about running out that way. I don't get out as much since the holidays, obviously, so anyway, and with my son, but anyway. Hope you two are both doing good. It's always nice to run into you two out in the real world. Dr. Phil, I just got a message from a bar who didn't pay, who says, I changed my mind about the item, thank you. Don't think they know how clicking the Buy It Now button works. Yeah, the first thing I do when they say that is block them before I do anything else. I'll copy and paste their name and put it on the block list. You can get to that straight from the main page on the hub, the summary page, selling summary, and I block them. And then from there, if it's 24 hours, over 24 hours, I don't cancel any listings. And that's eBay states that after 24 hours, you can't cancel the listing unless you okay it. I just don't okay it. And at the end of the day, if they change their mind or something, or they don't pay for it, I'm in the clear. If they do pay for it and then they want to send it back, then I keep the initial shipping fees and the cost on the fees for the thing itself as well. And eBay's allowed me to do that before. Again, especially if they cancel after the cancellation date, because they can't do that. And I've never had an issue with that. That's my take on it. I'm not saying you won't have an issue with that, but that's how I do it. And if they end up paying for it and try to return it or something, I've always won those cases. It's happened twice, in the long run, quite a while ago, but that's the way I've always played those. I only cancel within 24 hours, just the same statement as eBay handles on those. So, and if they ask, I just say it's a site policy, and they can check that out. And eBay actually states that you can cancel it directly within the first 24 hours. So, just FYI, that's how I do with those. Let's see here again. And again, I don't worry. If they don't pay for it, they're going to get dinged. End of story. And I just move on from there. Let's see here. Flat broke at 50. Well, welcome. Yeah, you're from Australia, the way it sounds. I do have several. Kathy, I haven't seen. Oh, that's right. I think maybe that is Kathy's. Maybe. Your shirt is good color for the video. Well, thank you. Let's see here. We got 130 some odd people watching, 49 likes. If you are enjoying the conversation, please hit the like button. It does help out the channel. Yep, Kathy, I'm sorry. I just saw that down there. As soon as I saw the Aussie, I just remembered you did say you got a new one. I'm terrible on names to start off with sometimes. I remember faces and stuff, but sometimes names get me. Rose39M, how are you doing? Well, I wish you luck then. Good luck with that. I asked the professor a question. I bought 60 plus Monopoly games. Would you sell in lots or individual? Shipping costs are making me think twice. Depends on what kind of Monopoly games they are, I guess, was the bottom line. There's like dozens of editions. We got some SpongeBob here not too long ago, a couple of those sealed still, and they go for like 30 or 40 bucks. I sell that kind of stuff individually. It just depends on the Monopoly type it is. Like if it's a Star Trek version or something, that goes for good money. Man, we've had quite a few different versions of Monopoly. And Millennial Edition, as we know, Scott Bearded Picker sold a ton of those. Let's see here. Where are we? Hopefully that helps a little bit. Again, it just depends on which ones. Have you ever had to cancel an eBay order because item was damaged, and what happens? Chris. I have canceled a order before, and I talked about this. I broke a Polish, like a 1940s 78 record set. I broke the records. I set a box on them. It's a $40 sale. I mean, I only had $1 into it, but it was the historical aspect of it. I apologize profusely. You know, I don't remember if I sent a picture, but I offered to send them the sleeve for free from it. Offered to give them free shipping for another item of their choice. Instantly refunded them. Emailed them instantly first, and then right afterwards went back in and refunded them right after that, from that point. So, and then, you know, again, I apologized profusely, and asked again, is there anything else I could do? I'm so sorry. I hate when something happens. I really did. It was bothersome because it's a historical item. It may be the only known copy of that set that's around, you know, and my family was Polish, so, you know, I've heard a lot of that stuff around the house. My grandmother's side was, she was born in Poland. So, you know, I just was very nice and offered them the world, you know, free shipping and the whole works, you know, instant refund and everything else I could think of, you know. I did not ask them to cancel it either. I just figured I'm just going to eat the cost on it just because it's my fault. You know, I did break it, and I didn't want to any more than I had to inconvenience them because they'll have to click and everything else like that. Now, I could have went back in and asked nicely, but I really just like to leave it alone if I mess up something and, you know, eat it, bite the bullet. You know, nothing happened. He was nice. They even left good feedback, mind you, for that. So if you cancel it, they can't leave feedback. Well, actually, they can leave feedback. I'll take that back. Strike that. Even if you cancel the listing, they can 100% leave feedback now that I think about it. You know, because it still it did end. The listing did happen. So let's see here. Well, thank you, Mike. Mike, again, you don't have to do that. Mike's been a patron, I think, since almost day one on that. Thank you very kindly, Mike, for the $20 super chat. Again, I honestly don't pay much attention to those until one pops in. I get wrapped up in the content and then kind of go off from there. Again, we did give that away. It's not going to be a super late show. We got about 30 more minutes, so let me just see if we can get to a few more questions. Again, Mike, thank you very kindly. For those in Patreon, since he mentions Patreon, new video, literally, I wished it would have not failed me right here. Maybe while we're chatting on this, I'll upload it again. But Patreon video will be up tonight for sure, 100%. It's like 40 some odd minutes, and it's the second half to the last video. So hopefully it'll give you a good idea on those topics. There's a bolo in there also that should be fairly interesting. It's something that y'all are looking for, but another take on those same things. I know there's at least a half a dozen Patreons in the live chat right now. So hang on one second here, and I'll get right back to the questions. I'm just going to make sure this is on its way back up. Again, I get up at 5:30 in the mornings. Well, tomorrow I'm up at 5:30, so I don't want to be up super, super late. It gets pretty hectic around here. Again, thank you, Mike, very kindly. Mike's a really good guy there. Again, I'm not saying that because he's doing that. Mike's just always been. I've talked to Mike for quite some time. I talked to him just the other night even. Let's see here. Hopefully that answers the cancellation questions on that. But again, they can 100% leave you feedback. Did I block Nigeria? Yes, that is one blocked. I can tell you for sure, Eddie. Or Aliba, yeah, thank you very kindly for the like button. Elo Flip, how are you doing? Bob, how's Bob doing? Good to see another one of our Patreons. Jack the Ripper, how are you doing? I recently revised a bunch of listings. In your opinion, will this help sales? Yeah, Hair Nation. Yeah, revising. If you change, this is 3 key things that go anywhere that listing goes. They're tied to the main frame. The basement of that listing are your price, your photo, and the title. Those don't go anywhere. When eBay lost all the other stuff, the information, everything that eBay always loses, those are the 3 things that are always there. It has to have one photo tied to the listing. It has to have the title and the price. If it doesn't have that, the listing is invalid and it won't show up or do anything. It'll crash it. So that's why I say those 3 things. If you change one of those 3 things, it's going to definitely recategorize you in some way for sure. There's no doubt about it. To what extent is questionable, but my personal research on it shows that about 30% of the time I did see some action on the items that I did that with. Again, I picked some better items. I didn't just randomly pick them on when I first started the test. Nowadays, because of those tests, I'll do up a couple bucks and down a couple bucks. So 1 month I'll raise a whole bunch of them 500 at a time by $1 or $2 or $5 or whatever the case may be. Sort them by price and then pull them off so you can do them by price. And it's going to have to recategorize or recalculate where you're sitting in the search results because it's a different price. So it's not going to sit where it was before. It's not possible. So it has to refresh it to that extent when you do something like that. And even eBay says if you do something with those key things, it's going to change something. So as I said, I do see results with it. So for all those who end the listing and risk, the fees being assessed the second time on those listings within that same 30-day time frame, because if you run out of your listings and you cancel them and you want to relist them manually to hopefully get some boost and refresh them, you could be billed for that. At the end of the year, chances are you're losing a couple days each month or whatever the case may be. You could end up with a whole nother month's worth of fees. And I know there's many people that canceled, relisted, and then were shocked when they had all these extra fees on there. So the best, safest bet is to change the price up and then change the price down next month. So up 1 month, down the next. Every 2 weeks, if you don't have a ton of listings, change them back and forth constantly. There's no rules that say you can't do that. Movement on your listing, action, changing. Some of the best things to do would be to look at your keywords, in all honesty. Keywords rule the day for most things. Like with Shopify, I've been digging into Google Shopping and the Google aspect of it, because again, I'm going to probably be paying for some marketing campaigns to draw it, as well as we'll be advertising to every person we sell to from all the platforms we sell from to our private store. And again, I've talked about this before, the private store, my take on this going forward and looking at how other people have done this, and this is selling. We'll flip into selling in 2020 here for a minute. We'll get to some questions after that. I've looked into this for a long time. I've been talking about cross-listing my items for months, and we've played around. We've had some success. The biggest issue with cross-listing with a third-party app, and this isn't an issue necessarily, there's no problems with the third-party apps. They do what they're supposed to do, but it's the categories don't sync up from one site to the other. And that's a nightmare in my book when I've got so much other stuff going on. I don't want to have to concentrate on that. I'd rather just spend a lot more one-time fee to have them imported in and then have customer service, and even if it takes 2 days to do it, because I've taken months and I haven't gotten anywhere near where I wanted to. And after talking to people that use Sellbrite and who've used it for a while, several of them, it took almost a year to get it straight, and I just don't want to mess with that. Fee wise, it's cheaper with Shopify, even with the sync options and all that kind of stuff, because again, it'll sync your stuff. Some of the syncs are like paid to have a sync on and things like that. Shopify, you can drop a purchase button anywhere on any social media platform, anywhere you want to, which is a good feature. You can drop them in on your own site, wherever you want, that there isn't a shop button to buy something from you. You got that option included with a $29.99 Shopify store, or $79.99 I think is the next one, and then the third or highest level is way up from there. I don't remember what it was, unfortunately, but let's see here. Hang on, let's pop down. But yeah, going forward, I've changed the subject. Going forward, though, the biggest thing that I see, stepping back into the conversation, is to get more traffic, because there's so many sites now from these other platforms to your own specific site. You're going to have to market it, paid marketing, and I'm fine with doing that, because I'll trust Google's marketing over eBay's marketing any day, personally, after what they did. Because if Google did that to eBay, what eBay did to us, Google would have had them in court. I can almost guarantee it right off the bat. So Google's advertising, I've spent a lot of time. I followed and went through all of their classes they technically have, just like on YouTube. They've got a YouTube Academy, and Google's got a similar thing. So I spent a couple hours going through all that. Is advertising from the sites you're on. Advertise that you offer exclusive merchandise only on your personal store site, which is Shopify. You're not going to tell anybody it's on Shopify. They're just going to see your name, on the net. They're not going to see it's a Shopify. It's going to look just like any other site. There's no difference whatsoever. You'd never know it was run by Shopify, which is the whole point. It just looks like a normal website. It's easier to set up and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's the route, as I said, we're taking on that. And going forward, the biggest thing that I can say is having some sort of marketing plan. Once you get your steady customers to your store, it'll be better off. And my anticipation is that, platform sales, my goal would be to get less on other platforms and more on my own. And I know it's going to take some time, but I have other ways to market it specifically, as opposed to just relying on eBay to hopefully show my items on a decent rank. Again, most of my items are scarce, rare, so most of my stuff does show up, even from a Google search. So it just depends on what you sell. If you're selling everyday items, you're going to have a harder and harder time. I had somebody else tell me, and I've actually 2 people tell me, that they were looking and couldn't find their own items. And I'm almost sure they said this was from a cell phone. And they were noticing that there was a box that said, if you'd like to see more results, click this button or something like that. No one's been able to send me a screenshot of this. When that happened, they just cleared it off and didn't take a screenshot, and they weren't able to get it back on, I guess, or something. But if somebody does see that, you can send me a screenshot to that email address I provided earlier in here too. It's like doing what Amazon does, I guess you could say. On Amazon, you got the buy box. And I've been saying eBay is going to have a buy box. That's all this is going towards. This is just proof that I was right. They're going towards a buy box. If that is a true thing that's happening, they'll have a little box that won't show your results, possibly. They'll show it like 5 or 10 up at the top. And then, you'll have to click a button to see yours. Even if yours was possibly the best one there, that still is happening from what I understand. And with Amazon, you'll see like the buy box version, and then you'll see 39 more from third-party sellers, and you'll have to click a tiny little blue link with that wording to get to the other listings. And I do that because I look for the best price with the best feedback on Amazon, eBay, wherever I'm at. Feedback means the world to some extent for me, because at least I know that they can follow the rules for the most part and do the right thing, hopefully. So again, I've talked about feedback, how important it is, but it's the same thing. And if these reports to me, again, I've got 2. If anybody out there, this is a call out to everybody. If anybody out there has seen that happen, at least leave me a response down in the comment section, not here in the live feed, because it's hard for me to watch the whole video again just to see your comments. Leave them down in the comments section. If that's happened to you on a cell phone, tell me where it's happening at. I've been trying to see it. I don't see it on the cell phone. I haven't seen it on, laptop, PC, or anything like that. So if this is happening, this is the initiative that they've talked about. They said there was new things coming online this month. There was supposed to be an update coming this month, if you didn't know that. I talked to head of seller support personally on a video chat, as well as head of promotions in the advertising department. And literally, they admitted there is a new one coming out, and they also admitted that there's going to be pay per clicks. So, my worry is that they're going to be doing that for lots of items in the home goods and books and things like that, where you have to click to see the rest of the items. And, in a way, I understand why that might be something they could think about, only because it'll declutter the page to some extent, but then it hides. Who's going to think to click on that? So many people on Amazon don't click on the button for third-party sellers. They'll just see the best one. It'll have recommended, or it'll have top-notch feedback, or something like that on Amazon, and that's who everybody goes to. That's why the buy box is so important. I'm sure eBay is going to go to that route. That's why they're building the database. That's why they're building the item database inventory lists and things like that. That's why they're switching these over. They're going for a buy box, I'm telling you. Even though they don't want anything to do with Amazon, they don't have anything to do with them, they're heading towards a buy box, if what people have told me is correct. So again, I would love if the first person who can send me a screenshot of that button on a screen, I'll send you a free postcard. Just give me an address, but I got to have a good, clear screenshot that shows that actual thing on an eBay page. I'll give you a freebie just for sending me that, because I'm dying to see this. Again, because if this is what they're doing, this might be a slow roll to just this limited number of people or limited number of items. They don't have to tell us anymore from what I see. They do updates and stuff internally for things like the way you can ship items and all kinds of stuff right now. Again, I'm not saying quit eBay or nothing. Don't get me wrong. Every site has its issues. eBay's just going through struggling to compete, with the other players in the game, and they're not doing it the right direction in my book. But they're still rudderless. There's still no CEO, I do believe. I haven't kept up in the last 2 weeks with info on everything, but again, somebody gets a screenshot of that, give you a postcard signed, or draw something on it for you, or whatever the case may be. I'll make it one of the new ones or newer ones here. I want to see a screenshot on that. Again, leave some comments in that comment section if that's happening, because if that is happening, that is the start of, buy boxes. I'm telling you, it's going to come one of these days. They've figured it out that the only way is to try and act like Amazon. And if you've been on Walmart, it's the same thing, or any other site. They're all takeoff on Amazon to some extent. And eBay's just trying to catch up because they're still using outdated stuff. So anyway, again, not a criticism. I make a lot of money on eBay, and I would recommend it to anybody to do eBay, in my personal opinion. It's not a dead platform. They're heading in the wrong direction, but it's not dead. They get somebody at the steering wheel that knows what they're doing and is at least a reselling type of person, or somebody who's grown up from, dirt poor to where, he's into that sort of position. They might have a better chance with the company. Somebody who's been in the real world, put a restaurant manager running eBay, and I bet you darn well it'll be running probably better than it will be from one of these, Wall Street people, because you got to nickel and dime it, but, you're fair, and you got to respect your employees when you're working with them in a restaurant. Too many CEOs don't give a hoot about the people working under them. All they care about is the almighty dollar, but just like politicians. But anyway, all of them, not just a small share of them, but the 99% of politicians. But only politician statement I'll make. But anyway, let's see here. Where are we at? Let's see here. Karen Miller, how are you doing? Chris Austin, I sell the Monopoly single a lot. I usually ship in my own box. You can get it to about $8.50. Now, I ship board games. I make a box for them. I just take a 14-inch cube and I just wrap the cardboard around it using a knife, and I've showed making customs. It only adds to the weight of a board game. I think it's 12 ounces total. That's it. That's all the extra weight. There's no extra cushioning or anything else. Never had a board game damaged. It takes me, a couple minutes at the most to do any board game, and that's sealing it and every single thing else. I put cushion inside the board game, saran wrapped carefully. Never tape around the saran wrap when I do that, because I don't want them having to damage the item getting it open. But never had a board game damaged that way at all. Let's see here. Perry Farrell. I want to say that's... I'm sure Jane's Addiction was involved, if I'm not mistaken. We were going to go to the first Lollapalooza, and in fact, there was one that we were outside of, and then we decided not to. And I'm almost sure Jane's Addiction, maybe Perry Farrell is the lead singer of Jane's Addiction. I know the guy from the lead singer of Jane's Addiction does stuff like that. Or maybe he got into it afterwards, but I know he does something with that Lollapalooza. Oral Liba had 0 returns in 2019 on eBay. I probably had 6-8 of them, maybe, if I'm lucky. Maybe not even that many. I have to learn more about music. Picked up a CD by Battle Boys, used out of print for 50 cents, and sold it today for 50. Less than 24 hours of listening. You got to watch out on CDs, though, because some of those can sell for hundreds of dollars. We've sold some for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Same thing for cassettes. In fact, I do somewhat better sometimes on cassettes and CDs than I do on records these days. So I don't know if the market's switching because of all the new stock dumping into the market. Maybe it's not as appealing for the LPs these days, but 45s are still hot, and 78s haven't been hotter ever for us. This is the best time for 78s. CDs, though, I look up every one, and most of the CDs I sell go on Amazon, because I'll get 2 or 3 times for sure if it's a collectible CD on Amazon. We're ungated in CDs, DVDs, VHS, all that stuff on. In fact, I can sell those 3 things, CDs, DVDs, and VHS. Blu-rays I can sell on the collectibles section under entertainment, and I'm ungated in the regular music section as well for all of those. We sell DVDs and stuff. Everything goes to Amazon these days. Everything. Like that, anyway. That's where the money's at, in all honesty. I was surprised at what we sold. In fact, I listed like a bunch of Game Boy games, and not Game Boy, what is it? GameCube games and stuff like that on Amazon. And I even listed them higher than everybody else, and I thought, oh man, maybe I shouldn't list them here. And I was going to just pop them up on eBay, because sometimes I get better money. But I listed them high. All the other ones went out during Christmas. And I sold all the games but 2. Just like that. I was very happy. I was really surprised. And they sold for way higher than I would have ever gotten on eBay. Now, if I did that in the summertime, chances are they would have sat there. Just because certain times of the year, obviously, on Amazon, you can get better deals for them. And there's more people buying them. So even if there are competition, if you don't mind waiting out that competition a month or so, boom, I sold it that way. That's why I sold all that stuff. Because I didn't care that I had to wait. I don't pay any I'm paying a monthly fee for Amazon, so who cares if I have an extra 10, 20, 40 different listings of video games? It doesn't matter to me. Too many people worry about the fees that you pay. So what if I pay $5,000 a month in fees? If I'm making, or I'm $5,000 in fees, and you're making, tens of thousands of dollars, it makes no sense not to pay it. How else do you make so much money other than paying to list so many items, Again, it's just like driving around and spending gas money. It's the same principle. Gas is essential. It's just business expense. Just like buying boxes or doing this or doing that. It's all a business expense. I don't really worry about it in any other aspect, because business expense is the nature of running a business. Business expense so many things too. I've had 2 unpaid claims on classic rock records and 1 on a set of Pokemon cards in 3 days. I have not had any issues with that. Again, I wait 7 to 10 days to open a case. I never rush. Who cares if it comes in today or next week? I'm not needing of the money, and it doesn't worry me if it doesn't show up immediately. So I'm very patient on stuff like that. I don't get mad or angry or anything else. If they don't pay, I open up the case, I block them immediately, and then I move on. I come back on the deadline when I can close the case. I'll close the case, and it'll instantly relist, and boom, I'm done with the deal. Who cares? That's what I take at it. If it's sold once, it'll sell again. When we sold clothing, there was a couple on 2 different occasions. It's been years now since I sold clothing. We had 2 decent jackets show back up here, and the first time I got a piece of clothing back, I said, but it sold once, it sold again. The other jackets sold for higher, those 2 jackets, than they did the first time. So I made more money, and I never got a return again on those jackets. So I never worry. If I get a return, I get a return. Sometimes I just bite the bullet and I just give them a refund and tell them to keep it. Depends on what it is. So anyway, Ken Ellis, how are you doing? We're going to go for about 15 or so more minutes. Yeah, I know I'm behind. I see the 7:30. Almost 2,000 items listed, and $100 is a good day. Your best chest now. It depends on what you're selling. That's what I can say on quantity. Quantity means nothing. There's people that can sell 10 different items and make $10,000 a week off those 10 different items, selling them in quantity. Buying multiples of the same item is the best way to go. And I know I do a lot of collectibles, but behind the scenes, and I do buy mass quantities of the same item over and over again. It's a no-brainer because it's one listing. It's nothing to deal with. You can list it on multiple sites, especially if they're things you can get more and more of. It's something that's replenishable are the best. You don't have to make a lot of money on each one if you're selling a ton of the same items. If I'm making $2 on an item, that may not sound like much, but what if I'm selling 100 of those a day? I'm making $200 now every day of the week, times 7, $1,400 a week, on and on and on. Multiply that times 10, times 52 weeks, whatever you want to do. The point of it is you get one item, you add to it, you get another item, you add to it, you just keep adding on. Obviously you can't make a perfect living off of going to thrift stores and garage sales, especially in the winter. So I say if you can make it through the winter and not have, garage sales, no flea markets or any of that stuff, and just barely making it on thrift shops, you can at least get through anything if you can make it through the winter months when there's no sourcing abilities. And that's another reason why, there is no such thing as a dead pile, dead stock, or anything like that. It's back stock. You got to have stuff to list when you got no other sourcing avenues. And I get comments and emails all the time. Can't find any more stuff to sell. I'm running out of stuff to sell. Spent the entire day, 7 hours driving around, and I found 3 things I'm going to make $40 on. You can't live on that. So, your best honest recommendations would be to find these extra ordinary sourcing opportunities, whether it be from wholesale or pickers. Now, I talk about pickers. Let me just give you another take on pickers, because I do get questions on pickers. I've got people that only supply me with a few certain things. I've got one guy that only gets one type of thing for me, and that is it. Who cares what they get you, as long as they get you something that's going to make money? Don't just think about trying to find a picker that's going to give you all kinds of different stuff. Think about other people that get the same stuff over and over and over and over again. That's a big insider bonus secret to anybody. If that doesn't make you think a little bit on finding stuff, nothing's going to, because that's the biggest insider thing I can tell you that I don't go out and discuss too much. Who cares if the people only bring you one thing? I've said it kind of off chance before. Some people bring me certain things. Some people who pick for me pick for 10 people for all I know. I never ask them. It's none of my business. I don't care what they do. The only thing I'm concerned about is if they're supplying me with records, that I'm the first one to look through them. Or if they're supplying me with this, I'm the first one to look through them. If I've noticed or don't see anything good in there, I'm going to say, hey, have these been picked through? I've dropped, there's a picker that I don't use anymore because of stuff like that. Again, it's partially my loss and partially his loss. So either way, it's a mutual loss when something like that happens. But finding a niche sourcer, I guess you could call it, that is a thing. I mean, there's things that you see me sell over and over and over and over and over and over again, the same types of materials in the same exact category over and over again. You gotta have a niche picker for something like that, I should say. There's a little more to it. You can hunt around, but there's sources for anything if you want to think about it hard and step outside the box. Now, I drove 3 hours to go to a pick the other day. Yeah, I'm going to make $6,000-$7,000 off of that pick. And I knew where I was going. I knew the person who was running it. That's a different story. There's times, though, like with the poster guy, that I just go and pick up posters. I already knew what I was going to get. I already knew I was going to buy it. I didn't care what was in the lot, because every single time he supplied me with these posters, I've made a lot of money. He doesn't want to list 500 posters. He's all by himself. He lists the high dollar stuff. This guy sells on eBay. He doesn't mess with this. He doesn't mess with that. He mostly likes doing the flea markets and antique booths and stuff like that. He doesn't want all the other junk that goes around with it. That's my take on it. That's just how it is with him. So hopefully this is going to upload on us here without timing out on us. Again, I'm uploading it, trying to do a second upload on Patreon video up tonight for sure. Hopefully that gives you a little more sourcing thought on that. And again, that's what I do. I've got people that buy just certain things just for me. And again, I don't care what else they buy for other people. I'm not going to try and step on someone else's toes. I know other dealers have tried to get some of my pickers to sell just to them, or let me look at them first, or things. So it's a rat race out there. I don't do that. I don't ask about the other pickers. I've only met one other person that he picks for in one other time, because I showed up early because I was done with an appointment and I just swung over to his house and he had another picker there. Now, he told me he didn't show him the records weren't out, and on and on. So I believe the guy anyway. So, who cares what your picker does? Don't ask too many questions if you find one. And I know there's, I think, 3 or 4 people in Patreon alone who have pickers now. It's going to take some time. It's going to take you wheeling, dealing, and talking to people, and showing up at places, and going to auctions and Craigslist calls, local flea markets, if you want pickers like us. Now, you're not going to find a picker that I know of that's going to get you hooked up with wholesale or new goods or returns. All that's on you. Now there's companies you can buy return pallets and all of that kind of stuff is out there. Bulk, all that stuff. I bought a pallet or two in my life. It's not, with the space I have, not something I would do. But coming soon, we're checking out a place twice the size where we're at now. So, and that way we can have everything in the same area, hopefully, because I have off-site storage too of a lot of records, and I do mean a lot. You'd probably fall on the floor, most of the people, if you saw the quantity of records. Yeah, records are my thing. We've got records everywhere. I've got a turntable in every main room in the house, including the bedroom. So just FYI. Let's get to a few more questions, and then we're going to end it. I'm sorry about that. Again, thanks to Mike for the super chat, and Doris, our winner here, TX Kitty for the Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Let's see here. Robert Hazen. Yes, I do recognize the name. Welcome, Robert. New Patreon member. You always say you only have $1 into an item. I can tell you spend a lot of time on researching, so I'm thinking it's $1.25 or so it's $1.25. I guess I'm missing that last part there. Sorry, Robert. I do honestly pay $1 or less for 85% of what you see on the store I share with you. That's a factual amount, I would honestly say. Most of the time it's less than that. Bulk purchases are the only way I can personally do that. And on top of bulk purchases, going to certain people, things like auctions are always good. I still, even with all the videos I've done, and I don't know, 600 videos, I couldn't even tell you. If I had to add in videos for Patreon and some of the other things that I've done videos for, there's probably like 800 videos I have across the net. I say this all the time. The best sourcing locations in 2020, it's the same thing. I'm telling you right now, because I've already checked out auctions this year, are local live auctions. Estate sales are always good, and obviously pickers and things along that line. There are some occasions where somebody will call me to check out a booth at an antique mall, and those usually do fairly well when I'm going out to those. We do post ads occasionally for people to call us, but in all honesty, I don't do ads very much. Now, if you're new and you don't have the connections, and ads, a wonderful thing to do. Business cards I have business cards too as well, but ads can do well on Craigslist or Facebook. I buy this, I buy that, things like that too. Those always can do good for you. I like the fact, at least in my point, that I don't have to do all of that digging. I don't have to drive around 6-7 hours and go to 5 or 6 stores and hope I find something. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, because I did that for years. These days, though, I am lucky, and I cross my fingers, I'm very lucky that I've got better sourcing than all that. Again, you don't see the videos for me going to these places. I don't have to go. It's a drawback to some extent, because I love going to thrift stores. I love the treasure hunt. But I don't need to do that, so I don't waste the time doing it. If we go to a thrift store, usually we're going to have some fun. We're going to get something to eat. Maybe we were looking to see if we could find something that we wanted to use or wear, or whatever the case may be. Jackets, sometimes I'll look for leather jackets. And we'll go on a jacket hunt one day a week or one day a month or something. Leather jackets, as I said, is a big thing. I love leather jackets, and I do love leather jackets. But I don't have to go to thrift stores anymore. I don't go to the bins, because there's no bins around here. They're 3 hours away. Closest one, Columbus, and I think there's one in Michigan. I don't do any of that stuff anymore. I don't do garage sales at all. I don't think I did but 2 or 3 all last year, the entire year, for the whole season. And maybe I did 2 or 3, maybe 4 estate sales, and only because they were close, and only because they had specifics shown or listed, or I knew the people running them. It's the only reason. Or I was told to go by the people running them. Other than that, I didn't go to any of that stuff. Again, somebody's going to say I'm bragging. This isn't bragging. This is just the way it is. I don't know how else to say it. I don't have to do that. I'm glad I don't have to do that, because I'm not wasting the gas, the time, energy, anything else. All my energy goes into getting the stuff and coming straight back. And then the rest of it's in the listing and employees and all the other stuff here. So, how many? 3 people work today. Last person left at 6 o'clock, started at 7 today with the show. that's a typical day. I'm up tomorrow 5:30, 5:45, somewhere in that range. I'll be working and packed up. Everything will be packed up hopefully by 8 or 9, depending on, I don't know where I'm at in sales today. I do see sales on my phone right now, though. I don't, I'm not going to sit here and dig through it all, but anyway, I got some sales on my phone. Anyway, let's move on, see if we can get just one more question or two in here, because I think we're about quarter past. We're going to cut it off in just a second here. Let's see if I can get one or two more questions in here. Joe Kunz Sellers, greetings from Minnesota, welcome. Stephanie McClintock, I still can't figure out how to run a sale on items. I thought, thanks for your videos. I do have a video on how to do a sale too. I've got another one coming out that's almost done, and it's gonna be like a 2 or 3 part series. We're gonna look at every aspect of a listing, the pages and all that other stuff, and give you the foundation to understand every little aspect of it, like global shipping and all those little things. That we'll just take a little piece one at a time and go through all those. Oops, Bullet Boys with a CD. Yeah, Bullet Boys. What's it? Smooth Opinion or Smooth... I don't want to say the wording on that title. I think that title is something that isn't so great. Yeah, but I know the Bullet Boys. I've seen them. I think they open for somebody else that I know. Yeah, there's Doris again. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just now catching back up on there. Yeah, let's see if I can get one more. It's Czech. Okay, very good. Here's Greg Murray. Most all of my best flipping and reselling profits came from items I've paid less than $1 for. There's nothing more exciting than paying 49 cents or less and getting a $30 return. Well, thanks. Glad it helps, I hope. That is most of my items, and I keep saying this, most of the items I get are dirt cheap, and they're items that most other people think, oh, that's just nothing. I don't mind making $20, $30, $50 all day long on the same types of items. It's just a no-brainer, especially when you have enough of the items up. It's constant sales. It's all day long. You've seen days, I've posted days where we've sold, 3,000. We've sold, I think, 6,200. And I thought about this because I want to say originally it was 57, but the wife said we had some dust jackets, and I think that weekend we had 5,700 day on Saturday of that weekend, and then the next day was 6,200, and that's just in those 2 days on sales. And we had, almost nothing. Those dust jackets, I bought like 500 dust jackets at an auction, at a book depository auction. And I spent $20 on the dust jackets, all of them, and they made us. It's 15,000. I don't know. It's some horrendously high number. The most I've ever made from that little bit of a purchase. And we still have some. I still sell them. I sold 2 this week. So I keep saying I'm going to dump them off and just put them in a big lot, since we're down to like 60 or 70 and stuff. But every time I say that, I sell a couple more, and I make a few bucks profit, and it pays for another 2 months worth of listing. So that's my philosophy in it ever. So let's kind of end it there. I don't have another question right handy. Again, new video coming out tomorrow for here. We're going to talk about more into philosophies, try and give you a little insider thoughts on better sourcing options. Some game plans for sourcing will be basically the topic, I guess we would say. I haven't thought of the title of it, but that's the basics. The video's shot. It's just not edited yet. Again, the video for Patreon is at second shot up, 51%. It says 34 minutes left. So in about 40 minutes, there'll be a Patreon video up, as long as this one doesn't have an issue. Occasionally there's an issue with some of these videos when they're over 40 some odd minutes. I've said it before. So there is a chance that there may be a dead frame or something that I'll have to go back in and recompile. Either way, I should stay up as long as I can and hopefully get it up tonight. Hopefully it's not that issue. It'll just go fine. But again, there will be a Patreon video up. It's done. 45 minutes or so. So anyway, I see it looks like maybe we're lagging on frames a little bit here. Does say I have a little bit of drop frames lagging through. Maybe it's the upload, but appreciate everybody coming on. I'm going to stop rambling. Thank everybody for your support, for watching. Again, if you see that screen pop up that says click this button if you'd like to see more of these search results. Please send me a copy of it and I'll send you something for free. Thank everybody for coming on, and hopefully you had a good day. Hopefully your sales are going great. Hopefully we're all looking for a good 2020 from this point. So have a good evening.